Physical Control of the Mind Toward a Psycho-Civilized Society. This is Jose M.R. Delgado, M.D. Dr. Jose Delgado. This dude was a straight up, real life Dr. Frankenstein. I'm going to keep this is going to be really brief and to the point. I have this more for reference. This is definitely not the kind of book you're going to sit down and read cover to cover. Who knows? Maybe you will. Not easy to find. This was originally published, I think, in 1969. And I actually have a couple of copies of this. I have the paperback version and the hardback version. Just because this is so rare, I ran across the hardback copy in a bookstore and I immediately grabbed it. This is all about brain implants. And again, his research is from the 60s, published in the late 60s. And Dr. Delgado proposed the idea of controlling, criminals and regular folks and whatnot with brain implants, and goes extensively into. There's all kinds of pictures in here about his experiments with monkeys and cats, and I think there's even mentions of his human experiments as well. This is dark, messed up stuff, and for anyone that is unwilling to believe the idea that somebody might want to actually control someone else's mind, Dr. Delgado lays it out pretty clear that he definitely wants to do that. This is an important work just from a political perspective. This is a really important work because I think that's a really tough pill for people to swallow, that there are guys like this who believe that there are people who should not be left to the control of their own mind, that they cannot even be trusted to control their own mind. I mean, for all the people out there that you disagree with politically or religiously or whatever, the idea of literally installing hardware in their brain to keep them from thinking the things that you don't think they should think is terrifying. And to think that here is an actual MD well on his way to achieving that end is really scary. One of the more interesting, and you can look this up on, I think you can find this clip on YouTube, but one of the more interesting experiments he did is kind of a proof of concept of what he was doing, is this experiment that he did, I believe in Spain, with a bull, where he implanted this bull with a receiver in its head, and he could stop the bull's aggression with the push of a button. So he literally got into the ring with the bull, and when the bull charged him, he was able to push a button and stop the bull in its tracks, which is exactly what you see here. This was not a carnival stunt. This was real world technology put into practice. And he did this for the sake of proving his technology to the doubters out there in the scientific community, that he could literally control minds with his implants. This is also very relevant to the alien abduction phenomenon. In the 80s, that was a very common place to hear abduction stories where people were taken aboard spacecraft and having transponders and whatnot put in their heads and stuff like that. And when you read Delgado's work, you start to realize that that has some very real terrestrial implications that have absolutely nothing to do with other galaxies. So anyway, Jose Delgado, Dr. Jose Delgado, Physical Control of the Mind. You can't get any more blatant than that. But again, remember that this work is over 50 years old now. So there is no telling where Dr. Delgado's work went after this. But I guarantee you it went black probably not long after this was published. So Physical Control of the Mind, published in 1969.